Limits of the Flesh, Chapter 47, Fantasy Fiction by Azazyel. You know, when I joked with Rias about calling Serafall to play babysitter, I didn't think she would reach into her titty pocket dimension to whip out her cell phone and instantly call the woman. "Hello, Lady Levi." "Levi-Tan," Rias said with a wry grin. "Levi-Tan, I wanted to offer you a deal as a fellow player of FGO." I could literally hear her phone buzzing as Serafall loudly asked what the offer was as Rias closed an eye and leaned away from the phone at Serafall's enjoyment. "You know how Jake made me Lancer Artoria, with a weird power of destruction implanted into her? Well, Jake did something very stupid when he decided to make a new waifu for himself, and now we need you come play Guardian for a couple of weeks." Rias continued, making me pout as I worked on smoothing out any issues of soul development within Sakuya and Medusa. "Ah, well, the offer is something you would definitely like." Rias started and let Serafall to stew for a second before she continued. "Jake is offering to make you that magical girl trio from FGO, Ilya and the other two, I cannot remember their names." Rias had to lean her head away from the phone as very audibly I could hear Serafall screeching through the phone before the phone abruptly hung up, leaving Rias to share a dull look between the two of us. "Serafall is going to break my dick getting me to fill her peerage with magical girls, right?" I said dryly as Rias sent me a look of pure pity as she came over to give me a gentle hug and kiss on the cheek. Rias pulled back from our gentle embrace and her eyes were shiny as she gently cupped my chin as she spoke thickly. "Jake, I truly like you and care for you deeply. But after Serafall is done with you, I don't think we can be together anymore," she said, almost choking as she played at being on the edge of tears, and for a second, I almost freaked out before I got my head on straight and then slapped Rias's ass hard, making her squeak in surprise. "Don't play with my emotions like that," I yelled, rolling my eyes as Sakuya and Medusa began opening their eyes and started taking in their world, so I went over to begin the whole imprinting process that would bind them to me. A couple of minutes later they both asked for their names in unison dully, as their weak souls seemed to look through their eyes to their creator for guidance. "What is my name?" "You are Medusa." "And you are Sakuya," I said, pointing to the two as Medusa experimentally stood up. I smiled as she actually did have the height that once plagued her predecessor at being just at 6 feet tall, so she was a solid 4, almost 5 inches taller than Rias. Sakuya, on the other hand, seemed to have a sort of grace within her that displayed as soon as she became self-aware, as instead of Medusa's simple swinging of her legs to get to her feet, Sakuya actually took the time to sit on the edge of the padded table for me to work on people and slowly stand on her 2 feet. "Master, what am I?" Sakuya asked, and I patted her head, making her hum in comfort as I messed with her brain chemistry to make her feel the happy juices as I spoke. "Your prime directive is to be a caretaker of my property, but you will also train to master the sacred gear within yourself while serving at my side." Medusa surprisingly silently walked over to me and poked the hand that was petting Sakuya's head. "Master, why does my tummy feel squirmy when I see you petting her head?" I paused my petting of Sakuya as my blood ran cold. Did the imprinting fuck up, and her divine/godly blood is making her obsessive like Arcuade, who practically fucking lives in my shadow? I thought almost hysterically as I slowly let go of Sakuya, as I kept a small smile as Rias the traitor just giggled hysterically at my awkward situation. Before I could get further into Medusa maybe perhaps taking after her fellow Greek gods and being possibly insane or possessive of me, I felt a loud thudding noise ring out even down here in my large basement/workshop. And then felt a tinge across my body that made shake as Arcuade left my shadow, dashing out of the basement towards the upper levels of the mansion. "Ah. That's probably Serafall already," Rias said wryly before she facepalmed and turned pale. "Oh no. Your other creations will see her as an intruder. We got to go." I instantly ran ahead of Rias as she flew behind me up the stairs into the mansion, and as we got out of the basement, I could already hear battling in the distance, bringing on the fear that Serafall had accidentally killed one of my creations. "Don't have splattered their brains across the floor. Don't have ruined their brains," I mentally chanted, as if I could fix them right up if their brains weren't fucked up beyond repair. Even my biokinetic abilities found messing with memories to be more of a thing to do with magic than the manipulation of biological processes. I threw open the door to the main hall and instantly roared. "Enough. Stop now." At my roar the chaos instantly stopped, freezing in place and quite literally in Monet's case for whatever reason encased in a massive snowman with arms that she was using to attack Serafall. EI and Arcuade each pulled back their respective abilities, with EI sheathing her blade and Arcuade's shadows covered in the grey mist of her soul-manipulating energies from the Sephiroth Grawl also broke apart in the air. The three women eyed Serafall, who was sporting a small cut across her magical girl shirt which allowed her large breasts to spill out plainly into my view. And I knew that EI did her bullshit speed of lightning dash and managed to cut through Serafall's costume. "Lady Serafall, I apologize for your welcome into my home, but your incomprehensible screeching didn't allow us to make a date to speak further," I joked as I walked over to check on my girls, who, although bruised and suffering some frostbite from Serafall's ice magic, only took a couple of seconds under my spring aura to fully heal everyone in the room, with Serafall actually moaning as her back audibly popped under the magical aura. Serafall giggled as she literally bounced over to me, with her tits bouncing around freely as she came over, and then she took my hand and gave me an overenthusiastic handshake that actually tore some tendons as she spoke rapidly. "It's no problem at all. Not at all, in fact, but where is the magical girls?" she demanded, with a demented look in her eyes that made me reel back a bit, and seeing my uncomfortable look at how Serafall was being, she took a deep breath and visibly put a lid on her excitement. "Ahem, my apologies, Jake Barris, for invading your home. But your offer has struck one of my dearest interests, and with how close you are to Surzex and the Gremory, I forgot that we hadn't gotten a chance to be properly acquainted, so I can come into your home whenever I want," Serafall said cheerfully, making my eye twitch at how shameless she was.